Hey everybody, this is Lisa Robbin. I'm hopping on. I usually hop on about a minute early so that we can start right on time. If you are already on the chat page, and there should be a link on the YouTube page, the G Plus page, and on the website where you can access the chat, go ahead and say hi, tell me where you're from, because the chat is really the only place where I'm going to be looking for comments today. And we are going to start right at 3 o'clock. And this is the first setup in the new lighting setup. So I'm checking all of my screens and things to make sure that everything looks kosher and doesn't look janky on your end. If something looks janky on your end, please let me know. It looks like the lighting is good. It looks like the sound is good on my side of things. So I'm going to trust that. And we're going to start here in about 14 seconds. Make sure the chat is refreshed. It is. And I got my notes. I got my water. And we are good to go. So let's get this thing started. As I said, this is Lisa Robbin. I want to welcome you to today's live stream. This is actually the first live stream for direct sellers that I've done in over a year. We did a Direct Sales 101 business breakthrough in December of 2013. And we didn't do another one because I wanted to do some changes. I wanted to do something different for the direct sales market and really find a way to serve you and get the help you need. We've seen the industry doing a lot of shifting lately, more embracing of online marketing strategies. And that's something I've been teaching for almost 10 years. I was teaching it before it was cool. And so it's been interesting to watch the industry change. But the other thing that we've also seen is we've seen a lot of companies going out of business, closing up their business models, shifting in different directions, or just drying up and blowing away completely. And so that leaves consultants in a space of sometimes fear of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And so today I can't answer all those questions and solve all those problems. But what I wanted to do was give you a strong foothold, because you've probably heard it said that if you have a strong January, you have a strong rest of the year. And January is over and we're almost to the end of February. And this is the time when consultants start to either really plow forward or panic and quit. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of push through that barrier, because the big things that I hear about regularly from direct sellers are booking, sales, and recruits, booking, sales, and recruits. And what I find is there are a couple of really simple things that you can do that change the landscape of your business almost exponentially. And I titled the name of this class, Doubling Your Income in Direct Sales, because what I'm going to teach you, these three things that I'm going to teach you today, really do work to double, sometimes triple, quadruple, exponentially increase the income that you're getting from your direct sales business. And that's just through your efforts. I'm not talking about team building today. I'm not talking about any of those leverage strategies today, except for a little bit of conversation about automation. But we have three strategies that we're going to go through today, and I'm going to cover all of them. I'm actually going to share all three of them with you before I go into them, because that way, if you're like, I've heard it all, you can click away and go, and it's not going to waste your time. These three strategies are three of my best tips for increasing sales, and they're ripped right out of my Direct Sales 101 program. Direct Sales 101 is a program that is designed for consultants. I call it consultant excellence. So if you're a leader, this is going to be great information that hopefully will be reinforcement for you. You may not have heard some of this, but hopefully it's reinforcement for you. And it's definitely something that you can then use to train your teams, because obviously if they're selling, they're going to stay active. And if they're not selling, they're looking for something else. And I find that direct sellers come into the business in a couple of different ways. One, they know they want to be a direct seller, and that's what they're going to do, and they hit the ground running and they do their thing. Other people come into it completely by accident because they love the product or because they found themselves in a situation where they needed some extra income. And so they step into it and they're kind of not sure, and they feel their way around, and they make a go of it. And the third person that comes into the business is someone who has an entrepreneurial mindset and may or may not know anything about direct sales, but this is their stepping off point. This is their starting ground for building a bigger business empire, if you will. So when you're teaching this information or sharing it with your teams, I want you to look at it through those three lenses, because it makes a difference on how your team is receiving the information, because that's the filter that they're passing it through. Let me back up for just a second, because I realize that it's been a long time since I've taught anything live for direct sellers, and you might not know who I am. As I said at the beginning, my name is Lisa Robbin Young, and I've been in and around the direct sales industry for more than 20 years as a consultant, a coach, a leader, a trainer, a speaker, an educator for the industry. And I'm not one of those people who wants to spend the first 15 minutes of my show here telling you all about me, because you don't care about me, you care about the results. So my commitment to you, as it is on every session that I do, is that you're going to learn about me through what I'm teaching you today as it becomes relevant. If it's not relevant, I ain't teaching it, because I don't want you walking away from this going, well, there's 60 minutes of my life I'll never get back. That's not value added for you. That's certainly not value added for me, because I want you to talk about the amazing training and the great insights that you got, so that you'll come back to the next free webinar that I'm doing and you'll bring your friends. It's like a crack addiction, if you will. That's how I operate. I want to give you good stuff. I want you to take it out into the world and do something meaningful with it. And then I want you to tell everybody, it was awesome, and I learned it from this Lisa chick. It was amazing. So there, that's my whole sales pitch right there. And I want to show you my notes. It's a mess, but we're going to cover all of that today. And I'm excited to share it with you. So as I promised you, we're going to go through the 3 tweaks that you can make to your business right here off the bat. And then I'll go into each one in detail as we go through it. If you have any questions, it's the chat box at the bottom of the web page on my website where you need to be inputting your questions. So if you're on, you can tell me where you're from. You can tell me what company you're with. You can tell me what kind of product you represent. That will all help educate me as to the examples that I can use that are going to benefit you for today. And if you just want to remain quiet, that's okay. I have a history of working with a lot of very quiet entrepreneurs, and that's all right too. I've got a lot of content, and some people say I'm a little bit of a fire hose. So if I'm going too fast for you, because you'll be taking notes, just remember that the replay is up for a couple of days. You can take all of that information in. At the end of those 2 days, though, this whole segment is going into the Direct Sales 101 archive, because we're totally redoing the program, and we're creating more real-time content for direct sellers that they can use right now, very actionable stuff. And you'll hear more about that in the coming months. But that's what we're doing, and that's why I'm creating this content. And that's why I'm doing it in this way. So let's talk about those 3 tweaks. Number 1 is follow-up. I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times, but follow-up is where the money's at. And I'm going to share a staggering statistic with you about how a lot of people say they follow up and we really don't, and what follow-up needs to look like. And then we can go from there, okay? So follow-up is the first thing. The second thing is target marketing. And target marketing is something you don't hear a lot about in the direct selling industry, because everybody says, well, if they've got a pulse, our product is for everybody. And I'm here to tell you, not everybody is interested in your product, not everybody can afford your product, and not everybody wants your product. And even if they want your product, they may not want to do business with you. And that's nothing against you, that's just who they are. So we're going to talk about target marketing with a direct sales approach and how to find more of your right clients in a way that's meaningful for you. And then the third thing that you can do to encourage more sales at your existing shows and get better sales at future shows, and sometimes get sales outside of shows, is to incentivize behavior. Now, some people call this a bribe. Some people would say that, this is manipulation. And I really believe it's about where your heart's at when you're making these offers. It's about training people on what to expect. And I teach my clients that you train people how to teach you. And I think Wayne Dyer even says it now. You train people how to teach you, or you teach people how to, let me say it again. You train people how to treat you by what you accept from them and what they come to expect from you. So whatever you're willing to accept from them, if they're giving it to you and you're taking it, they come to expect that. And whatever they come to expect is however they're going to behave. And that's true with children, and it's true with your clients, and it's true with your team members, and it's true with your sidelines and your family. It's true across the board in relationships with other human beings. You will train them how to treat you based on what you will accept from them and what they've come to expect from you. And the same holds true on the other side of the coin. You know, if you've ever had somebody come into your life and behave a certain way and then they change and you're like, whoa, I can't, what'd you do? I can't handle this. This is all different. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to talk about ways to incentivize the behaviors that you'd like to see more of that are ethical, you're selling without being salesy, and all of these things build on the foundation that you're already laying in your business. So I'm not asking you to be somebody that you're not. I'm not asking you to try and do something that's not in alignment with who you are. I am all about helping entrepreneurs build a noble empire, live an inspired life, and that means doing business from a place of integrity and authenticity. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're just going to roll right into it. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is target marketing, because I think this really lays the foundation for everything else that we are going to talk about today. Because target marketing, people hear that phrase, and if they have an idea of what it means, they think it means, I was serving all these people, and now I'm only going to serve these people. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. Yes, it means you're going to focus your marketing and your outreach in a particular way, but that doesn't mean saying no to everybody else. It means you have a choice about whether or not you're going to put energy into those people. So why do we target market in the first place? Because by getting clear on who we really like to work with, out of the whole field of everybody with a pulse, when we get clear on who we really want to work with most, that saves time for us. That saves money for us in terms of any advertising that we're doing, any events that we're thinking about putting up a booth at, things that we're going to think about participating in as a way to drum up business. When we know who we like to work with, we can then run it through this filter so that we're not chasing the tire kickers anymore. Okay? The tire kickers and the kidnappers will find you. You do not need to go looking for them. Oh, there's one over there. Let me go get her signed up. Oh, he looks like he might be a good candidate. I know he just wants the kit, but I got to get him signed. No. Just stop. Stop. You have the ability as a business owner to decide who you most want to work with. Now, if those people aren't showing up, then you have the choice to open your field of business to other people. And I like to use retail stores as a great example. When you step into Walmart, it serves a certain kind of clientele. When you step into Target, it serves a certain kind of clientele. When you step into Macy's or Bloomingdale's or Neiman Marcus or the Ferrari dealership, they serve a certain kind of clientele. Do other people that don't fit that certain type walk into those stores? Sure. Do people who don't fit that type sometimes make purchases? Yes. Because of what's called the aspirational slope. If you're looking at a bell curve, all right, you have these people that are the average bell curve. They're in the middle. Sometimes, you talk about early adopters and late adopters, and the people in the middle, that's the chunk of the mass market. Well, if you've got a company that serves this segment of the market over here, they're not quite the leading edge. They're just behind the leading edge. You have people over here that aspire to be in that group. So they'll come over and shop, even if they're not qualified by all intents and purposes to be part of the target market. And likewise, you've got people over there that maybe came there and were here at one time, and so it's nostalgic for them, and they go back. So you've got this slope that people are serving on from low aspirations to high aspirations, and your product fits somewhere in that scope. Somewhere on that slope is where your company's brand message, where your company's products, where your company's price point sits. If you've got a product that has Walmart prices, you're catering to a Walmart type clientele. If it's got Ferrari type prices, you're catering to a Ferrari type audience. So it doesn't make sense to try and do outreach for a Ferrari type product to a Walmart audience. And I hope that that makes sense. And if you've got questions on that, feel free to type them into the chat. I see Bonnie with Simply Said is here. Hi, Bonnie. And it's great to be able to interact this way. I love this chat feature, and G Plus used to have it and they don't anymore. So now we have this and I'm really excited to be using it. So if you've got questions about how your product lines up, that's one thing you want to be thinking about. So the reason we target market is because it makes it easier for us. It also makes it easier for our clients to find us. I know several coaches and trainers who say, you want to be a lighthouse. You don't want to go chasing. You want to be there and shine your beacon, and you want them to come to you. But even a lighthouse has to do a little bit of target marketing. You don't see very many lighthouses in the middle of a farm, out in a field somewhere. Lighthouses are on the shore where the boats are. So if you want to be a lighthouse, that's great, but you've got to plant your lighthouse where the boats are. That's target marketing. So how do we do target marketing? Let me see if I've got a catalog here. I do. This is a catalog for a company. And the fastest way to figure out who your target market is to look at the pictures in your catalog. If you've got pictures of skinny little 20-year-old women, then that's who your company thinks is your target market. Pretty little girls that are, doing their thing. That's who your company thinks the target market is. Now I hear you saying, but Lisa, I'm not a tiny little 20-year-old person and that's not who I like to work with. Great, because as you've no doubt experienced in the direct selling industry, that old mantra that our products are for everybody, sort of. And here's the thing that I really want to get at. I can have a product. A lot of people can use a cup, but not everybody can use a cup. People who don't have hands would have a hard time using this cup. People who don't have the money to buy this cup would have a hard time buying this cup. People who think cups are yucky and they want to drink out of wine glasses won't buy this cup. But that could be a woman, a man, old, young, any ethnic origin. So in some respects, yes, this cup's appropriate for anybody, but it's not appropriate for everybody. And that's a key distinction when you're dealing with target marketing. So yes, could those products be appropriate for men, women, old, young, American, foreign, domestic? Yes, absolutely. But will everybody buy it? No. And it may seem like I'm hammering that point home, but I'm hammering it home because so few direct sellers think about their business this way. They go out into the world and they start looking for people, passing out their business cards, tagging everybody they know on Facebook and saying, hey, come buy my stuff. It's awesome sauce. For the people in the back, I'm rolling my eyes. Your stuff may be awesome sauce, but it doesn't sell itself, contrary to what some people will say, and it's not for everybody, okay? I have never yet seen a product stroll up to me in the shopping center, jump into my purse, pull out my wallet, take out my credit card, run it through the machine, put it back in my wallet, put the wallet back in my purse, and then hop into my cart, drive itself to my car, get out of my car, unlock the door. That's selling itself. So there's a little bit of work you've got to do. And it's so much easier if you're marketing to a particular group of people versus a whole world of people that is hard to serve. One more example. I have 2 children. I have $10. It's easier to go to the store and spend $10 on 2 children than it is to go to the store and spend $10 on 150 children. Every market that you choose to serve, you have to nurture like a child. So you can't be all things to all people because you'll get more gray hair than I have, and you will drive yourself crazy. This is why target marketing is so important. So the first way is to look at the catalog and look for the models in your catalog. If they're women of color, then the company thinks the women of color would be appropriate for this product line. If they're younger, if they're more mature, pay attention to that. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's your market or your specific market, but it's a suggestion from the company. And believe me, companies do their research. So don't just ignore what you see in the catalog. Now, if your catalog doesn't have any models, maybe it's a newer company or maybe they've chosen to just display the product, you can always call the company and ask them, who is the target market for this product line? Who is the target market for this brand of, wrinkle-defying skincare? That's kind of an easy one. Most teenagers don't care about wrinkles, and more mature women tend to. But that's not even always accurate, because my sister, when she was in her 20s, had crow's feet like crazy, and she was just trying to figure out, how do I deal with this? Because she had really, really dry skin. So you want to be clear on who is it that you're serving, and your company can tell you. Do not, and I'm going to say it again, do not talk to your upline, your sideline, your downline, because chances are good in this industry, your upline leader is going to go, you can talk to everybody. Don't prejudge, just talk to everybody. Now, here's the thing about prejudge versus pre-qualify, and I think this is an important distinction. Prejudging is me making the decision for you that you are not interested in what I have to offer. That's prejudging. Pre-qualifying says, before I spend my time telling you about my products, I want to get to know you a little better. I want to see if there's a good fit. So if you've got a room full of people, by all means, share the product with everybody in the room, even if they're not your target market. But if you're actively considering, should I do this wedding event, or should I do this women's expo, or should I go to this, event that they're hosting in the local trailer park community picnic area? Think about, well, is my right client going to be there? And if you don't know, ask the event coordinator. What kind of an audience are you expecting for this? How many people do you expect will be there? And in Direct Sales 101, I go through a whole thing about how to figure out whether or not an event is a good idea for you to attend, whether or not you're going to make money at that event, or whether or not you're going to get the recruits you want from that event. Because sometimes an event is way too big, and sometimes an event is way too small. And so you have to know how to work the numbers. And we don't have time to go into all of that. But it's important to recognize that if you like working with brides, then a bridal event might be a good thing to do. If you can't stand working with brides, don't go to the bridal event. I don't care how many leads you think you're going to get, especially if you don't follow up on them. We'll get there in a minute. No matter how many leads you get, if you're not interested in working with those people because they're a pain in the butt, you're not going to work with them. And if you do end up working with them, you're going to be miserable. Building a business and having a life and a business that you love has to begin with you. Who do you like to work with? Which of your clients makes you want to do cartwheels every time they call you because they're calling to order, or they're calling to book, or they're calling to refer a friend, and you're like, can I have more of this, please? Start making a list of, these are my awesome clients. I love these hosts because, I love these clients because, and then start looking for the overlaps in the character traits and the personalities and the behaviors. Find that, and that becomes your template for, this is my perfect fit customer. My perfect fit customer pays on time, shows up early, brings a friend, always spends at least $100, whatever it is for you. Start making that list, and then when those people show up on your radar, because they do, it's like magic. I can't explain it, but it happens. When they show up on your radar, you already know. Our brains have this really cool function. It's called the reticular activating system, the RAS. And I'm not going to get into a whole lot of brain science, but basically it's the mechanism in our brain that when I say Ford Escort, the next time you go out, you're going to see like all these Ford Escorts because you're aware of Ford Escorts now. We become aware of something and our brain looks for instances of it, pattern recognition. You know, when you've got that car that you're just dying to have and suddenly you see it everywhere, that's because your RAS is making a point of finding it for you. So as you're developing a perfect fit customer profile, I want people who shop at Target, not Walmart. I want people who, you know, get a car wash every week. I want people who, you know, take really good care of their homes. I want people who think that words are important. Whatever it is, when you start making that list of these are the characteristics that I just love about my clients and my hosts and my team members, because it works for team members too, then your brain starts actively seeking those things out for you. And sales becomes easier. Recruiting becomes easier. Host coaching becomes easier because you're more in alignment with the right people. You're finding your target market. I will say that if you're creating this from scratch versus having a doctrine come down from the home office, there's a little bit of trial and error involved because somebody can look really good on paper. And you may have had this experience where you have an awesome, she looks like she's great. She's got 40 names on her guest list and you sent out the invitations and you're so excited and you walk in the door of this big, beautiful house on the outside and it looks like a war zone on the inside. And she hasn't called the RSVP with any of her friends and she's complaining the whole night. And you're like, what happened? You looked so good on paper. I don't understand what happened. That does happen from time to time, okay? Not that I speak from experience, you know, it does happen. But on the whole, target marketing allows you to have that clarity. And when you have those trial and error situations, you just go, okay, I thought that was something that was important. Clearly it's not. We'll take that off the list. We'll adjust the list like this. I thought it was important for me to have people who behaved this way, and now I'm starting to see that maybe that's not true. Here's the other thing about target marketing. As you gain more experience in the industry, as you mature as a human being, as you get older, your personality changes, your quirks change, the things you like and don't like change. All of that stuff makes your target market shift too. I had a client once who had been working with 20-somethings since she'd gotten in the business, and she was a 20-something herself. And she got the idea about target marketing and she really ran with it. And she was focusing on what 20-somethings wanted and she was serving that market and she did really well. And as she got older, she herself got out of touch with that audience because she wasn't 20-something anymore. But she was still trying to serve that market and she was watching her effectiveness fall. Her sales were slipping. And she said, it's not working anymore. I said, well, are they still your target market? Do you still want to work with those people? And she's like, well, you know, at the time my friends were young and they were getting married and they were having kids, and now all my friends are, well, they're my age and their kids are growing up and they've got teenagers and da da da. And I said, so maybe you shift your market. Oh, I can do that? Yeah, you can. And you should. No company that's agile serves the same market in the same way for all of time and eternity. When you look at Coca-Cola, which began as not even a soft drink, it was a medication that accidentally got some soda water put into it. And they shifted, they pivoted when people said, hey, we like this. All right, we're gonna serve beverages now. And then from there, it was Coke, and then it was Diet Coke, and then it was New Coke, and then they bought Minute Maid, and now they've got juices, and now they're doing waters, and they're continuing to evolve the market that they serve because people are asking for healthier beverages. It wouldn't do you any good to say, no, I only sell Coca-Cola. I only offer one thing forever and forever. Because like cassette tapes, you'll get left in the dust when CDs come along. You have to be agile enough to say, this is shifting. I need to shift with it. So don't be afraid to play around with your target market, because remember, you're not marrying the target market. You're just making a commitment to serve those people for as long as it makes sense to do so. And if something else comes along that makes sense to shift to, then shift. But there's a difference between trying to serve this market and then saying, you know, I think I want to serve this market, and going, I'm just going to serve everybody. It's too hard. And people don't understand what you're trying to accomplish. And I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years, so I have a little bit of understanding about the problem of trying to be all things to all people. So again, target marketing isn't about saying, I don't work with you guys. It's about saying, this is where my focus is at. And if somebody from over here comes into my line of focus, oh, absolutely, I'll work with you. Or I have the choice to say yes or no. But here's the one caveat I want to throw at you, because I've heard it time and time again, but I need the money. I need the money. I need the recruit. I need the whatever so I can hit some goal, pay off something, whatever. We've all been there. But I had a client, and I like to tell this story. I had a client who was faced with the dilemma of having to pay a bill. And she needed $300 or $400, I don't remember. She needed an X amount of money by a certain date, 2 weeks from now, in order to keep the lights on or keep the rent paid or whatever. And a potential client came to her and said, hey, I'd like you to do some work for me. Here's, what I'm willing to pay, da, 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 da. And in conversation, she got real clear that this was a pain in the butt client. And if she said yes, it was going to take up all her time and she's probably going to be miserable. But she really needed the money. She really needed the money. And so what did she do? She sat with it and said, I am worth more than a pain in the butt client. And if I really truly believe in myself and my work and the things that I'm doing to generate business for myself, I'm going to say no. And she said no. And the very next day, or within a day or two, she got another call from another potential client who wanted the same kind of work for about the same amount of money, who was a way better fit for her and the work that she was doing at the time. And she came back to me and said, Lisa, they're great, and they worked together for several years. They might still be working together now, I don't know. But they worked together for several years. And she said, if I had said yes to the pain in the butt client, I would not have had time to be able to work with this awesome client. And I'm so glad I said, no, not now. I'm not here to tell you what to do or how to run your business. I'm here to show you some options and some different ways to make doing business easier. So you can choose to be all things to all people, and anybody with a pulse and anybody who can fog up a mirror, you're going to do business with them. But you're going to waste a lot of time. You're going to waste a lot of money. You're going to create a lot of stress for yourself. That's been my experience. It's been the experience of many of my clients. But when you hone in and say, I really like to work with action takers. I really like to work with people who know a lot of people. I like to work with people who want to tell people about me. I like to work with people who are excited about life and have a passion for doing things and want to make a big impact in the world. Obviously, insert your little isms there, okay? Those are people that I like to work with. When you put that out into the world, people get it and they're like, I want to work with you. Yeah, I want that kind of energy on my project. I want you a part of my life. I want you to be my consultant for life. That's target marketing. And that's the beauty of target marketing, because you can develop a loyal following because they feel like they belong in your little group. Without it having to be cliquish or competitive, you're creating a space for them to be their best self through the work that you're doing and what you're offering with your products and services. And that customer profile becomes a filter through which everything else is, well, do I really want to continue to work with these people? Yes, I do. So when somebody comes onto the radar who's not one of those people, you can say, come on in, we'll give it a try, or, thanks. One of the things that I encourage direct sellers to do is book themselves at least 3 months, 3 to 6 months out. You want to be booked solid for 3 to 6 months. And when people first start working with me, they laugh and they're like, are you kidding? I'm only going to do 21 up and you want me to be booked out 3 to 6 months? Well, when you learn how to meet those people and work with the right people, follow-up doesn't become a pain in the butt. Staying in contact with those people and keeping them excited about what they're doing becomes easier. And you're always communicating messages that that audience understands, because you're not trying to be everything to all people. You're focused on them. And they say, rock on. And they read your newsletter and they reply to it and they tell you things about their own personal lives, and you have conversations and you start to develop friendships, and some of your best clients become your best friends, and you create this community of people. That's what target marketing can do for your business. And you start to fill up your calendar, and you get so busy that people are fighting over dates because they all want to be a part of your world. That's what target marketing can do for you. So that's the energy around target marketing. So once you picked an audience, you've got to get them used to how you work. This is where incentivizing behaviors comes into play. And there's a couple of different ways to incentivize. You can incentivize for attendance, or you can incentivize for sales. You can also incentivize for bookings. We might have time to get into that today, we might not. Since this is a session about sales, I want to make sure I cover the sales stuff. So how does incentivizing work? The example I'm going to share with you might sound a little offensive, so brace yourself for that and just roll with me. I'm going to talk about Pavlov's dogs. If you're not familiar with the psychological approach that deals with Pavlov's dogs, Pavlov is a scientist who had these dogs, and he would feed them at dinner time, and he would ring a bell every time they started to salivate when the food was presented in front of them. And over time, he had them trained so that he could just ring the bell and they would salivate even if there was no food there. He was training them how to behave, and he was tying emotional reactions to an external stimulus, all right? That's the nature of incentivizing taken to the manipulative extreme. That's not what we're doing, but it's a great illustration to help you understand what incentivizing can do for your clients in a very easy to understand way. So we're creating a setup for them so that it's easy for them to do business with you and do business with you on your terms, okay? The way you ring the bell, they respond the way you want them to. And again, there are some people who think this is manipulative because your clients aren't dogs, okay? Your clients aren't dogs. Your team isn't, they're not dogs. Your hosts aren't dogs. And as I said at the beginning, you train people how to treat you based on what you accept from them and what they come to expect from you. So it's about setting the expectations. When a new recruit comes on board and you go, well, you don't have to come to the monthly trainings, but it's a really good idea because we find that people, but you don't have to. You've laid the expectation that they don't have to. So they go, oh, okay, well, I'm not gonna worry about that. If she's not enthusiastic about it, I'm not gonna be. And the same is true with your sales. And the same is true with your host coaching. When you set an expectation, and we're going to talk a little bit about expectations when we get to follow-up, when we set an expectation, people are looking for you to meet that expectation. So if you say, I'm going to call you in 2 days, and we're going to talk about your party, and then you don't call because you don't want to be pushy, and you don't want to interrupt her. You don't know what she's got going on, and she might be at work, and then you don't call, and she's going, well, she said she was going to call me, but she didn't. Maybe we're not going to do this anymore. Maybe she quit. I don't know what's going on with her. And she's not going to call you because you told her you were going to call her, and you didn't. And what? When you set the expectation, following through isn't sleazy. When you set the expectation, following through isn't being icky. When you set the expectation and you follow through on what you said you were going to do, people go, she keeps her word. Hot dog, let's do this. I like her. She's a person of integrity. She does what she says she's going to do. The trick to this, though, is to not throw everything at them all at once. Don't throw them under the bus with a host packet that's 5 inches thick and they got to have a tow truck to take it home with them. You want to give them a little bit at a time. Set one expectation, follow through on that, and as you're following through on that one, set the next expectation. So you're training them on what to expect. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So we need to train. Let's talk about training for sales, and then we'll talk about training for attendance. When it comes to increasing sales, we want them to spend more. But as a customer, I'm gonna put my customer hat on right now. Why do I want to spend more money with you? Why do I want to? I don't want to spend more money. I want everything I can get for nothing. If the whole world would just deliver me free stuff that was high quality, I would be the happiest camper in the world, wouldn't you? If you could get everything you wanted for free all the time, you would be a happy person. But we spend money because we need to. And we can look at spending money as, I gotta do it, or we can look at it as, I'm making an investment. And with some products, it's easier to see the investment. I'm investing in taking care of my skin and having a healthier lifestyle. I'm investing in quality cookware so that I can feed my family in a more economical way. They last longer, da da da. I'm investing in beautiful art to hang on the walls or to decorate my office space with so that I can feel inspired, etc. And sometimes we're not always that clear on what it is that we're offering in a way that they can invest in. But you really have two choices. Are you spending money or are you investing money? So the first thing I would implore you to consider is to minimize the use of words like cost and price and look at words like invest, investment, investing, value instead of price or cost. Words that give a higher elevation to the value of the money that they are giving you. You know, when I have a program, like my Direct Sales 101 program, I don't say, it's going to cost you this much money to be a part of the program. I tell people, this is an investment in your business. This is an investment in business growth for you. And if you want to grow your business, I don't know a single business in the world that doesn't invest something. You had to invest in your starter kit, whether you were investing time, energy, or money, you had to make an investment. So when you're investing in training, it's the same kind of a thing. This doesn't have a cost. If it's costing you money, there's something wrong because you should be getting your money back by going through the program and learning what's in there. And if you're not, you need to talk to me because I don't want to take your money. I want you to learn and I want you to implement. That's why I do events like this, so that you can learn and so that you can implement. So think about the difference between cost and investment, spend and invest, price and value. Just let that stew. Because your client is always thinking about what's in it for me. Whether they're a host, a customer, or a recruit, they're thinking about themselves. Remember when I started this whole program and I said, look, you don't want to know about me. You want results. So I'm not going to yak on and on about me. Same story. You don't care about me. You care about you. You came here because you want to learn 3 ways to increase sales in your direct selling business. And maybe you came for some other reason. Maybe you thought I was awesome and just wanted to see me and support me and encourage. Okay, fine. I doubt that. You're here because I said I have something that I think would be of value to you. And you said, I am willing to invest my time to be here and learn. So think about that. What's in it for you? That's what's always going through their head. That's the radio station that's always playing. What's in it for me? So when you want to do sales incentives, you've got to think about what's really going to capture their attention. What's going to make them go, right on. So the first step for incentivizing sales behavior is to lead with your wow product. Lead with wow. If you sell skincare, you want to lead with the product, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be the most expensive product. I know a lot of people say lead with your most expensive item. Demonstrate your most expensive item first. Not necessarily. Demonstrate the thing that's going to make people go, wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. I want to see that. Let me try that. Can I touch that? Give it here. Let me try. Get them involved. Hook their attention. That's what's going to get them excited. And if it's not your most expensive product, put it in a collection of something. You can get this when you buy this whole collection and it'll only cost you X if it's not your most expensive item. But here's why. You want to train them to break out of the hypnosis that they're in. You may have experienced this if you go to other people's parties. People go to the party and they already know how much money they want to spend. I got $50. That's all I'm spending when I get here. $50, that's it. I got $20, that's all I'm gonna spend. I got 10, I got 5, I got 40. I might be persuaded to spend 100. My husband told me I can only put $15 on the credit card. But when you lead with your wow product, you take them out of the hypnosis. You create a dissonance for them. People have this plan about this is all I'm going to spend, and they're flipping through the catalog if you've given it to them in advance, and they're trying to find that thing that they can buy for however much money they thought they could afford to spend. If you've got a product with a long-term track record, a company that's been around for a long time and people really know about the quality of that particular product, they may come saying, that's the product I'm going to buy, and that's the only thing I'm going to buy. And they're hypnotized. That's the thing, that they're in the zone. You can't change my mind. This is what I got. So you need to, bam, snap them out of it and create that dissonance. Get them going, wow, that's awesome. I didn't know about that. Let me try it. Can I see it? Get enthusiasm and get buy-in. And you can do this online as well as offline. If you're using video, I know Facebook is a great way to do video parties. You can share right in the moment. Hey, I want to show you this. And you get all in and say, look at that. You can demonstrate wow. And some products you can demonstrate wow anywhere. You can carry it with you and you can demonstrate it out on the street. If you're standing in line somewhere, it's a possibility. But lead with wow, because then they go, well, that's like a $40 product and I've only got $15 to spend. And you can tell them, hey, today only it's available for this price, or it's for this price in this bundled package. And if they can't afford that and they're trying to get the wheels turned to figure out how they can do it and they can't financially swing it, you can book them. And you still got the whole rest of the show to show them other stuff. And because they've been disrupted from their hypnosis, now they're paying attention. Now they're like, okay, all right, what else has she got? That was pretty cool. What else is there to see? Fabulous. So it doesn't have to be the most expensive thing. Just let it be the thing that makes people go, ooh, oh, that's so interesting. And if it's a relatively inexpensive item, bundle it. Create a package. And that will encourage them to spend more without you putting a gun to their head going, you need to spend more money because I need to get on this incentive trip and I need to hit my goal. And nobody likes to be begged to buy. So many times I hear consultants say, I don't want to be pushy or salesy, but they're not being pushy or salesy. They're begging for business. I only need $100 more so that I can earn my incentive trip. Who's it going to be? Sally only needs one more booking so that she can have this Sunday. Who's it going to be? Nobody cares. They might care about Sally, but they don't care. They care about themselves. What are you going to offer? What are you going to make available for them to say, yes, I want to do this? So bundles of products. Another thing that you can do is a purchase with purchase. I like to do the gift with purchase. So you've demonstrated this wow product and you say, and if you really like this product, it's available for free today when you spend $250. And you want to set it at a price where you cover your cost of whatever the cost of the product is. And if that seems like it's too much for you, you're like, I don't think I could ever get anybody to spend $250 at one time, then you do what's called a purchase with purchase. And you can buy this today for the consultant cost plus 10% or whatever to cover tax or whatever. So there's always a way to make it available to them at a reduced cost that's attractive, that doesn't put you out of business financially. This is not about putting yourself in the poorhouse so that you can inflate your numbers. This is about genuinely training people on what to expect. And the neat thing about offering those kinds of incentives is that you do them during the show only. I've just demonstrated this amazing wow product, and today, until the show is over, you can get it for $10 instead of $50. Or you can get it for free when you spend $150. You work the numbers and do the math, but I hope this has got your wheels turning, because once the show is over, I'm sorry, that special is no longer available. That's something I'm doing for you today because you are here with me now. And I wanted to thank you for your attention, your time, and your interest. And people go, I like this. Maybe I can't take advantage of it this time, but I'm going to come to the next party because I'll have the money next time. Or I'm going to book my own show so that I can take advantage of it next time. Do you see how that trains them on what to expect? If I come to the show, I'm going to get something special that nobody else is going to get. Maybe I want it, maybe I don't, but that doesn't matter. It's the energy of I'm special. That's what's in it for me. I get something special just for being there. And I want to be there because I want to feel special. I want the opportunity to have something that nobody else gets because they weren't at the party. And then I can talk about, she did this wonderful demonstration and my skin felt so smooth, or my hair smelled so pretty, or the necklace looked so beautiful, or the way she had that on the wall. You get people talking and you're not begging them to talk about you. That's the power of incentivizing behaviors. So it's not, I'm just going to give something to everybody because everybody's so awesome and I really need lots of business. It's strategically saying, I have something that's awesome. And if you want to be a part of it, this is how. But only special offer is for right now. And I'm a big fan of show-only specials. I love show-only specials. In fact, that's a tip that I use to increase attendance. When we're increasing, there's a rule called the rule of three. And a direct sales company a few years ago did this research. And they discovered that for every 3 people, even if they weren't buying guests, for every 3 more people in the room, sales went up by $300 or $400. So a room with 3 people or 4 people in it only did about $250 in sales. But when 7 people were in the room, it was a $500, $600 show. And when they had 10 people in the room, it was almost a $1,000 show. Well, it's almost a no-brainer then. I want to get more people in the room. There's a crowd mentality that happens when the energy is good. You've been to those parties where things are happening and it's like everything's just buzzing and it's like, ooh, I like this energy, and good things are happening around the room. When you get more people in the room, that energy takes over and people are like, yeah, I'll buy that, sure. They're less cautious, they're less restrained. It's a whole psychological energy that gets people in the mood to buy, I guess. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but that's the way it's been explained to me. And so if you can do your part and your host can do their part to get 10 or more people in the room, you've got a better shot at having a $1,000 show. And one of the ways I do that is by saying, I got a show-only special. And when I'm hostess coaching, I say, come to the make sure you tell your friends they want to be at the show because I have something just for them when they show up. Like today, during this session, I'm giving away 1 seat in my Direct Sales 101 program. But only if you're here, only if you comment in the chat, only if you're interacting at the end of this session. If you're not here, you're not getting it. Pure and simple. That's my way of incentivizing you to be live during the episode. So here we are. So show-only specials got to be meaningful. If you're like, you can take 5% off your order, and they're spending $10, they're getting 50 cents off their order. They're spending $100, they're getting 5. It doesn't really feel like much of an incentive. So that's when I try to use my consultant discount or packaging other things together so it looks like it's got a greater retail value. And then they go, wow, I'm getting $200 worth of product and I'm only paying $75. That's amazing. Well, maybe it's a piece of discontinued something and it had a $100 retail value. It's not costing you $100 to give it to them, but it's something that creates this sense of meaningful value for them. That's the kind of thing you want to be doing for a show-only special. And it's only available right now while we're in the room. When I pack up my stuff and I walk out the door, it's over. You can't call me later and say, I want that. I'm closing the show tonight. That's it. And I encourage people to close the show the night of the party. So we're not talking about that tonight, but that's one thing that I like to do. We're closing it tonight. And then if there are stragglers, we'll put them on a different order. So you want those, and they're good for bookings too. You can do show-only specials for bookings. If you decide tonight before I walk out the door that you want to book a party with Sarah and we calendar it tonight for sometime in the next 30 days, unless you're booked 6 months out, then I will give you this, whatever it is. Doesn't matter, whatever it is. Your business. You get to be creative. Maybe the company offers you something, but maybe they don't. You get to decide how you're going to be creative and generous to your hosts. And they don't get it until they actually show up open the door and let you in and do the party. It's like, this is what you get on the day of your show when I walk through the door. So you're not out anything until the party's actually been had. And I think it's important to vocalize that because a lot of people will just give away free stuff and then they'll be standing there with no bookings going, you have to take control of your business because it's your business. You are a consultant for a company. So you are providing their products as a service to your customers, but it's your business. And you're just the middleman offering the product. Like Walmart owns the store, but Wonder Bread sells its bread through Walmart store. That's who you are. You're the store, you're the building, you're the owner of that company, and this product just happens to be coming through you. So when you start to think about it that way, it changes the landscape of how you operate your business. You have a lot more latitude to do things than a lot of direct sellers, I think, realize. So another thing that helps encourage attendance is an on-time drawing. And an on-time drawing doesn't, again, I don't want anybody thinking, oh my God, it's going to cost me $5,000 to have this party because I'm giving away all this free stuff. No, you're not. On-time drawing can be a sample. It can be a card. It can be, that's when you can do the 5% little discount coupon thing or whatever, because that can be something small. It's an on-time drawing just to make sure butts are in seats so that you can get started. That doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't even have to be super meaningful. It's just a way to encourage people to be on time. But when you're doing a show only special, it needs to be meaningful. The other thing that I like to encourage my hosts to do to increase attendance at the party proper is to shop for their guests. I call it pre-shopping. We've been trained, hey, get the wish list and have your host go through and pick out all the stuff she wants so that she knows what she's working towards. And that's great. She's all focused on her. But a trend that I've seen in the last few years has been people who want to have parties just so that they can socialize with their friends. They don't care about the free stuff. Yeah, that's nice, but that's not their bag. They're doing it because they want to be with their friends. So I'm like, great, pull out the catalog, flip through it, and instead of shopping for yourself, look for things that you think your friends would like so that when you call them to say, are you coming to my party? You can go, you know, on page 12, there's this candle that I think you would absolutely love. And I just want to make sure you're coming so that I can show it to you when you get here. Oh, you were thinking of me? Oh, I get to feel special? Okay. And since that's already her modus operandi anyways, that's already what she's all about is I want to do this with and for my friends. She's gotten herself out of the way and she can just be like, oh, Mary would like that and Susan would like that and Debbie would like that and she'd probably like all this stuff. And then she has a legitimate reason to have a conversation with each of her friends when she is host coaching or when she is calling to get those RSVPs. Are you coming? Because I saw this and I thought you would just absolutely love it. And I think she's bringing it to the party, if you're bringing it to the party. Give them reasons, make it easy for them, and then their friends show up in droves. Well, I had to come because Marcy said that there was this candle that I just had to see, and she's right, I think it's pretty awesome. And a lot of times, they'll end up with extra spending on their wish list, and they'll pick out some of those things for their friends for gifts for later in the year. So when you have them pre-shop, they're not shopping for themselves or shopping for their guests. That encourages them to have their guests come to the party because they want to see what's all the hullabaloo about. So those are different ways that you can do training, if you will, for your clients, your hosts, to encourage that behavior, incentivizing that behavior. So I know we're getting close to the end, and I do want to talk about follow-through because this is important. It's not a long conversation, but it's really important. This statistic blew my mind when I saw it. The average follow-up rate in the direct selling industry is 1.1%. 1.1, which means for every 100 people, you follow up with one person one time. One person, one time. If you've got 500 people in your client list, you'll follow up with 5 people one time. That is a huge amount of missed opportunity. A huge amount of missed opportunity. So that whole idea of I want to be your consultant for life, well, it's not a very long life expectancy. It's become a joke. If you really want to be someone's client for life or consultant for life, you do the work to stay connected. And there are different ways that you can do that. I have a dentist. I love using this example. I have a dentist and I get a phone call. Hey, it's about time for you to schedule your exam. Okay. and I schedule my exam. And then about 3 weeks before my exam, I get a postcard that says, hey, just a reminder, you've got this exam coming up. And I'm like, all right, my dentist is looking out for me. And then the day before my appointment or 2 days before my appointment, depending on when it is, I get a call from the office saying, just want to confirm that you're still on. Yep. Okay, cool. We will see you at X and such time on X and such day. Okay, fabulous. And if I'm running late, they call. We just wanted to make sure that you're coming. Yep, I'm on my way. I'll be there in like 2 shakes. I'm like pulling in the driveway now. Okay, cool. So this is what I want you to be mindful of. My dentist has set an expectation that every 6 months, he's going to follow up with me. He's going to schedule my appointment. They're going to make sure that I'm aware of it. They're going to send me a postcard. They're going to call me to confirm, and they're going to follow. They're doing the follow-up work, and I keep going back to my dentist. He's my dentist for life. He's my kid's dentist for life. Unless something happens, he's the dentist I'm going to. If you want to be a consultant for life, if you want to be their consultant for life, and this is why target marketing is important, because sometimes you don't want to be their consultant for life, and that's okay. But if you want to be their consultant for life, you have to do those things. You have to set the expectation. So create some automated ways to stay in contact with them. A lot of companies now have a company newsletter, and that's great, but it's typically, here are our specials, and this is why you should join our team, and this is our booking offer for the month, and those things are important. But if that's all they're ever hearing from you, you're not connecting with them. The company product is connecting with them, and the company product stays top of mind. And that's all the company has to do. Bluntly, the company doesn't care about you. They care about their consultants. They care about having a sales force, but they don't necessarily care who that is. So for you to have a healthy business, your clients need to connect with you. And that's where your follow through is important. If you're only following up one time with one person out of 100, you're missing the boat. So how do we do that? Create the expectation and keep your word. I have this box, and in some of my videos, you'll see it, this big black box, and it says big dreams on it. And in that box, I have all these envelopes where people have written down what their big dreams are. And they put them in the envelope, I put them in the box, and that's where I house their big dreams. And then once or twice a year, I pull one out and I read it, and I reach out to that person and I say, hey, you asked me to hold on to this big dream for you. How's it going? You said you wanted to buy a house. Where are you at on that? You said you wanted to grow your team by 50 people. Where are you at on that? Because I made a commitment that I would follow through with them. And if you want me to follow through on your dreams, you can send me an email and I will put it in the big dream box, and I will do that for you too. Because that's part of how I stay in connection with my clients and with people I've met when I'm doing speeches and talks and things like that. I'm like, look, I got this box. Write down your dream, put it in there, and at some point in the next 12 months, I will reach out to you and go, how's it going? And it has been so fun because people are like, I didn't believe you were really going to reach out to me. I mean, I know you said you were gonna, but I didn't believe it. And you just did. And wow, that's really cool. I've had people on Facebook go, I totally thought she was blowing smoke. Who knew? So set the expectation and then follow through. Don't make a huge expectation. Don't tell them 45 things you're going to do. Tell them the one thing you're going to do that thing. Then say, okay, now that I'm doing this, here's the next thing I'm going to do. And then do that thing. And when you're accomplishing that, you say, okay, now here's the next thing I'm going to do. And you do that thing. And you build trust. And then they remember you. I've seen several companies close this year. And I've watched teams, whole teams, move to a whole new organization because the team had faith in the leader. And I've also watched other teams from that same company splinter and break apart and go in 50,000 directions because they didn't have faith in their leader. If you're building a business that's built around who you are and what matters to you, you need to show up. You need to do the work. You need to do the follow through. It doesn't all have to be you. The glory of newsletters is that it's automated. You create one, it goes out to the whole list. There are phone messaging systems that you can use. My kids' schools, they call me a couple times a week. School's canceled, snow day, whatever. There's not somebody making every single one of those calls. They have a phone system. And those are all tools and resources that I talk about in Direct Sales 101. And you can find them online. So those tools are available to you. That's the important thing, is that you don't have to feel like, oh my God, I'm going to spend 75% of my life doing follow-up. You should probably spend about 25% of your time doing follow-up and 50% of your time doing sales and marketing. And the other 25% of your time, give or take, should be on the administrative stuff, entering orders, team meetings, training and learning, those kinds of things. And those are rough numbers. It's going to be different for everybody. But if you're running your business like a business, it needs to be generating revenue and making a profit. And there have to be things involved in doing that, like selling, building your team. That's all marketing and sales. But follow-up is important because that's what leads to marketing and sales. So that's that in a nutshell. Now, before I do the drawing for the one person who's going to win a spot in Direct Sales 101, I do want to tell you a little bit about Direct Sales 101, because what we've been doing today has been basically ripped right out of that program. And for the last few years, Direct Sales 101 has been this 12-week course where I teach you everything that you could possibly need to know about building a profitable, sustainable direct selling business. From how to do your recruiting interviews, to how to overcome objections, to how to find your perfect fit customers, to how to sell more when it feels like nobody's buying. All of those strategies, everything that I think that you need to be a great consultant is in Direct Sales 101. And you can still buy it right now. You can go to directsales101.com and it's there. But what we're doing is we're changing the whole program. The content is going to be there, but we're adding all of this social media stuff that wasn't in the original program. We're adding regular webinars, support and coaching, because that's the one thing that I found time and time again that people really needed was they had lots of questions that were specific to their niche, specific to their business, specific to their thing. So how do we apply that to their business? And so I put the business coach hat on and I go, okay, you're with Mary Kay, so this is how you're going to do it. You're with Simply Said, so this is what would work for this type of product. Instead of trying to create some hodgepodge sheet that people could try and find their thing, let me work with you personally so that you know specifically this will work for you. And Direct Sales 101 has always had the guarantee that if you complete that 12 weeks of training, you will walk out of that program with either $5,000 in sales, 9 new shows on your calendar, or 3 recruit leads. And some people get all 3 of those things before they finish the program. And I want to keep that, and we're adding even more. We're making it more comprehensive, and we're making it easier for people to learn. So that's going to be available probably in April. And I'm telling people that if you really want to take advantage of it, get on now, because I haven't changed the pricing. I haven't had time to go mess with the website. I think it's like $147. And it's a great steal just for that program. But if you're in now, you're going to get all this other way cool stuff too. So that's where it is. It's Direct Sales 101. There's a link on the page. I think it says learn more about Direct Sales 101, and it'll take you there. If you're interested. And if you're not, that's cool too, because the stuff that we've been talking about today is totally applicable whether or not you take the class. And that's why I handpicked those 3 strategies: follow up, target marketing, and incentivizing your guests and customers, because it doesn't matter what business you're in. Those 3 things work across the board, whether you're in direct sales or some other type of entrepreneurial activity, or even if you're dealing with your kids. All those things work. All those things work. So I am going to pick a random number, and then I'll count down on the board. So if you are interested in winning a spot in Direct Sales 101, and it's a lifetime membership, you have it forever and ever, you make sure that you post a little something, something in the chat window right now, because otherwise I won't see you and I won't get to count you. I will give you guys 10 seconds to type something in, like I'm here, or yes, I want to win, or I thought your show sucked, or whatever, whatever you want to say. Got 5 seconds left, and then I'm going to do a random, I'm going to random.org here, random.org, type in, let's see, okay, time's up. It looks like I got 2 people in there talking right now. All right, so minimum 1, maximum 2, one of you guys, dun, 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 dun. Number 1, that would be Bonnie. Bonnie, is it Bonnie S. Pringle or Bonnie Springle? I don't know which, but Bonnie, congratulations. I'm gonna try and type and talk to you guys and look at you at the same time. I'm trying not to make my head explode. It's hard to run all of these different things. All right, so congratulations, Bonnie. send me an email, info@lisarobinyoung.com, and that way I can get your registration information and get you into the system, because there's all this wonderful content in there right now that you can already start to access and use. And then in April, when we roll out the new content, you'll also have access to all the new training, including all the stuff on social media. We've not ever talked about advertising before. We're also moving all of the leadership materials that are currently in Direct Sales 103 into Direct Sales 101, and you'll have access to everything. It's going to become a very comprehensive training library for direct sellers at every phase of their business, and I'm really excited to be rolling it out and just beyond geeked. So that is all the content I had for you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat. I'm glad to answer anything. I've got a few more minutes that I can hang around. I know we're a couple minutes over now. So if you guys are good and I don't see anything in the chat, I'm going to close it up. But if you do have something, if you're like, Brent, I got to know the answer to this question, then type it in there, because that's the only way I could know what you guys want. So this is Google Plus is kind of an interesting beast. And if you like these hangouts, if you like these chats, I'd like to do more of them, particularly for direct sellers. So let people know, and let me know that you liked it, so that I can come up with more topics to share, because like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years, so I have quite a breadth of knowledge, and it's hard to know what to share, because as you may have noticed, once I start talking, it all just kind of starts coming out. And so I want to be of service, I want to be helpful, and I want it to be meaningful for you as well. I don't see any questions, so I'm gonna close the chat, and I'm gonna close the whole schmear here today. And I want to thank you guys so much for coming, and I will see you again next month with another webinar. Be on the lookout for that. If you're not already on the list, make sure you do that over at lisarobinyoung.com, and we'll talk again next month. Take care, and blessings and peace. Have a great day.